Hello, Internets, and welcome to my review for the Season 3 finale of My Hero Academia, such as it is. Um, Episode 63. Pardon if I start blinking a lot during the episode. I've been having a really bad bout of dry eye recently, so I'll be blinking a lot. Don't worry, I'm fine. Like right there, right here. But yeah. So when we last left off, we had a great, stellar half episode with Twice, of all people, who I had taken to be a joke villain. And it really let us see the nitty gritty of how the world has changed post All Might. And then we started to get kind of a prologue into season 4. As we're introduced to the hero work studies that are an optional step up from the internship, and are then introduced to the big three: Mirio, the other two, Airhead Girl, and Stage Fright Guy. And so, before we go into the episode, one final time, because it will probably be my last video of September, just because there are only 5.5 hours left in the month, I have my straw poll in the comment section, not the comment section, the description down below. I went the entire month without screwing that up, but I just did it right there. Straw poll for my Fall 2018 seasonal anime reviews. Please fill that out. Let me know what you want to see now that Academia is gone until April. But yeah. So moving on to the episode proper, I love the big three. They're so funny. Especially, the two non-Mirio people. The Airhead Girl, who's just so pure, so wonderful. I just love her. And I really love Stage Fright Guy. He's so funny, and I know just from, like, osmosis and, like, being on Tumblr with people who reblog MHA stuff and the manga, that Mirio does become a very big thing. Maybe not. Maybe I think in this arc in season 4, but maybe stuff after this arc. I don't know. But I really want the rest of the big three to just stay around. Sorry, I got distracted. My phone started buzzing. I'll handle that later. I'm a mess today. Hello. But yeah. So they're all introducing themselves, and Airhead Girl goes on about all the different all the different stuff about each of the characters, Mina, do your horns grow back? Oh, Todoroki, where'd you get that burn? First of all, don't ask someone that out of nowhere. But then she also mentions, Mineta, are those balls your hair? And Mineta does what Mineta is prone to do, and makes it, and gets really, like, hot and sweaty over that comment, and, God, I hate Mineta. I hate Mineta with every fiber of my being. Alright. Mineta's the worst. Y'all know that. Y'all know I hate Mineta by now. And so, with all that going on, while the big three are supposed to, tell Class 1A about the work studies, Mirio's like, actually, let me fight all y'all at once. And, like, at first I'm just thinking, oh, it's a shonen, they have to, like, fight. We do eventually find out that there is a reason, that I'll get into a little bit when I start discussing Mirio more in depth. But first, we are introduced to Mirio's power once the fight gets started. And it's basically Toby from Naruto, back when Obito was still doing the Kamui shit. And, like, everyone was just fading through him. So I feel like if I'm gonna try to connect the big three to the Shonen Jump big three, Mirio is the Naruto of the group. We'll see who's the One Piece and who's the Bleach. Oh, no, I know who it is. Stage Fright Guy is the Bleach, because that was always a little bit more of a gloomy series than the other two. Airhead Girl's enough of a Luffy, I'm calling her the One Piece. That's my meta-analysis. The three of them. Mirio is, Naruto. Ajisaki, I think is his name, is, Bleach, and Hane, I think is her name, is One Piece. I'm sure I butchered their names, and I'm sure there are plenty of reasons why this analysis is wrong, but that's my analysis, and until anyone says otherwise, I'm sticking to it. So Mirio is incredibly powerful, and he just knocks everyone out. You know, all the long-range fighters he gets, like, in one hit. The close combat guys at least see his fighting style enough to actually, defend slightly. You know, Midoriya predicts him coming up right behind Midoriya, and so is almost able to counter it, but it still doesn't work because Mirio is just that powerful. Mirio just wins everything. He's the closest. So Aizawa describes him as being the closest to being number one, including the pros, Aizawa says. So does that mean that as soon as Mirio graduates, he's gonna, knock Endeavor out of the top spot? Because, or does he mean, a different type of number one? Because if Mirio is that kind of person, I mean, in last week's video, I think Archon P mentioned in the comments that there actually is a bit more of a, both popularity and arrests to be number one, and since Mirio would not have the arrests as a fresh out of high school kid, he would not be number one immediately, but I don't think Endeavor will have the throne for very long, if what Aizawa is saying is talking about the hero rankings. But anyway, the fight finishes real fast. It's not a challenge for Mirio at all, just lay waste to 1A. And Mirio starts to... So, throughout the fight, Ajisaki, I think is his name, Bleach guy, mentions that, if 1A thinks that Mirio's quirk is so great, they clearly don't know... They're clearly so weak that they don't understand anything. Learn why. And that's not... And what this leads to is kind of realization that Mirio is this very interesting take on this kind of hard work versus natural talent dichotomy that so much of Shonen Jump, especially Naruto, going back to my meta-analysis, is built on. Especially, I'm going to stick to Naruto just because that Naruto really thrives in this dichotomy. The kind of hard work versus natural talent that defines relationships like Lee and Neji, or Sasuke and Naruto, and Mirio, at first glance, rests very heavily in the natural talent category. He has this quirk that lets him do just about anything, lets him use the Kamui almost. Sorry, I swear at some point I will stop with the Naruto references around Mirio, but I don't think I am, actually. I think it's just going to be a giant Naruto reference all the way through. But we actually learn that his quirk sucks. If he activates over his entire body, he will drop straight through the ground until he turns the quirk off, where the ground will then shoot him up. And when he turns the quirk on over his entire body, he cannot see, he cannot hear, he cannot feel, he cannot breathe. And so Mirio has overcome this dearth of natural talent by just predicting the shit out of everything. And I really love this kind of, the way that Horikoshi really does play with these shonen stereotypes a lot, especially in characters like Bakugo, who is, a bit of a subversion of the Sasuke character. And Mirio is just another one of these subversions of this kind of... I don't know if he's a subversion of it, though. I'm just really interested in it. But throughout all this, Todoroki stays out, because he does not have his provisional license yet. And I mentioned back in my episode 60 review, I think it was, or 59, or whatever video it was, I am not a fan of the licensing system. And so I really, I think Todoroki being hung up over, failing the exam is fine and all. It's just that I don't like the licensing system enough that I really don't want to focus on it. So yeah, that's my gripe there, whatever. But anyway, after that, the big three leave. The other two, One Piece and Bleach, realized they weren't really important to any of this. They just kind of existed, which was my experience growing up in the aughts. Sorry, I didn't get into One Piece and Bleach until much later in life, but I was a Naruto fan from, elementary school, so that's a bit of my experience. And as they're leaving, Mirio brought up his dick a lot. And he mentioned it again when they're, the big three are kind of, debriefing with each other their whole experience of this little skirmish. And I really hope that doesn't become a character trait of his. It's already gotten old. It will get older. Yeah, I hope that's not a recurring thing. And so, as the last we see of the big three is Mirio bringing up that someone named Sir, clearly that's not Sir's actual name, but that's just what Mirio calls him, will be very interested in these new recruits. So yeah, I'm curious about what that's all about. Well, I'm sure we'll find more about that, about what that's about. as season 4 comes in, probably in April, another 6 months to wait, whatever. But yeah, that's really obviously the big three. And then we go back to 1A, casually hanging out in Heights Alliance. Excuse me, the dorm. And I love everyone waited to throw all of their crap away until Midoriya was off house arrest and they could give it all to Bakugo. That's hilarious. I'm sorry, that's just so funny. It's perfect, and it really I feel like it really encapsulates everyone's relationship with Bakugo just so perfectly. I love it. But then the second to last thing we get this season is Midoriya thinking about the work study and how Aizawa said to use your connections from the post-sports festival internship to find a work study. And so he calls up Gran Torino, who is his only internship offer, and who says that he's not available, he can't do a work study for him, but ask All Might about All Might's former sidekick. And then we cut to a guy in a lab coat viewing this villain Overhaul, who my osmosis gained knowledge of MHA tells me is next season's big bad. Who I'm not sure if that guy is if the lab coat guy is supposed to be All Might's ex-sidekick, or if he's just some random. I imagine he has to be. The way they cut is too perfect for it not to be. He just happens to be looking into Overhaul at the moment, and maybe Deku work studying with this guy is how he'll get involved with Overhaul next season. I don't know. That's just my theory. But as it ends, Twice, who, as you'll recall last week, saw Overhaul just murder Team Reservoir Dogs, takes Overhaul to a, back alley cabin that the League of Villains is using as an interview location to get new villains. And that's where we end, to be continued in the 4th season. So, MHA, I don't know, has any series, maybe Gintama has gotten the 4th season, but besides Gintama, I think no show has ever gotten the 4th season. With there have been shows like, Yu-Gi-Oh! I guess Zexal's a 4th season, but not with genuine seasonal breaks like this. Actually, it's really weird. You'll occasionally see a 3rd season, like Haikyuu and Kuroko's Basketball all got 3rd seasons. But not really with 4th seasons. Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought there. But anyway, on to my general overview of both the episode. So first of all, for this episode, you can't really view it as just an episode because it is a season finale. And I have to address it because it works very differently as an episode and as a finale, because it very clearly doesn't really want to be a finale. But as an episode, it did a fine job introducing the work studies more, introduced us to Mirio, kind of teased this new arc coming up. It's all doing pretty well. It's a good episode. It's not a great episode. It introduces us to an interesting new character, sets up future adventures, yada yada yada. As a finale, it does not do anywhere near as well. But that being said, it did about as well as could reasonably be expected. I wasn't really expecting a great finale, just given with everything going on. Nothing changes the fact that the Bakugo Deku fight would have been a perfect finale. A great way to really wrap up all of the season's issues before 62. The last week's episode introduced us to a whole new thing. Also, 62 would have been a far better premiere than whatever 64 will give us. Because, Academia season premieres have been kind of, derided for being basically recap episodes. And giving us 62, opening with that long Twice segment, would have given us a far more interesting season premiere that I might have brought this up last week, but I don't quite remember. But we have Twice, instead of showing us everything that happened that brought us up to the world as it is now, we see Twice going about and experiencing the world as it is now. And that's far more interesting than just whatever recap we're going to get next season. And then, of course, the second half of the episode leans into what Season 4 is going to be about, the work studies and Overhaul. Also, Overhaul's introduced in 62. It would have been perfect. That would have been a perfect finale. The only thing that would have been weird is that carrying over the house arrest between seasons, but whatever, that's nothing new for long-running shonen. But I see it So, we've had two finales before this one, and they both worked very differently. Season 1's finale was a wrap-up of the USJ arc. It was just kind of, a very epilogue-ish finale. There was the grand finale of episode 12, as, All Might beats the shit out of the first Nomu we saw. But then, episode 13, they all kind of, decompressed and, reflected on the season of adventures they'd had. And season 2's worked both as kind of doing the same thing as season 1's did, but also very much teasing the war to come as Shigaraki gets his sense of purpose, and there's that super tense face-off between Shigaraki and Midoriya in the mall. And I feel like this episode kind of tried to tap into what made season 2's finale work, with both kind of teasing future adventures, more than acting as a season wrap-up. But season 2's finale also worked as a season wrap-up, while teasing the future conflict with All for One. So I just think that one's worked better than season 3. Which is kind of my thoughts on season 3 as a whole. I feel like season 2 was just better. I hate to have to say this, but while I loved the All Might All for One fight, I was very late on season 3. As y'all know, I didn't get caught up until the beginning of September or late August. And so I was a couple weeks late to seeing that super hyped up All Might All for One fight. And I feel like it just wasn't as good as some of the other big moments. It wasn't as good as the Bakugo Uraraka fight or the Deku Todoroki fight or even the Stain fight. And it was probably better than the Stain fight. But I was really looking forward to a moment on that Deku Todoroki level, which is one of the greatest moments in the series so far. And I kind of was let down. It was still a great fight, and I will swear by that, but it was not as good as some of the stuff that's come before. And so also the professional license exam kind of dragged at the beginning. Season 2 was phenomenal. The sports festival is probably the best arc the series has given us yet. And then we had Stain, who was cool as he was weird. The final exam was a bit of a weird way to end the season, but it worked. And this season, it had that Deku Bakugo fight, which is by far the highlight of probably the entire series, actually. Scratch what I said about Deku Todoroki. But the forest camp and the Camino raid didn't really match up to the sports festival, and the provisional license exam was nowhere near the same level as Stain. And then it just kind of ended on an awkward place. So all in all, it was not as good as season 2. Still a great show. Still, some of the best shit Shonen Jump is giving us today. I say that as someone who barely reads Shonen Jump anymore. I think I just read Boruto in there now. I mean, I'm on my way through One Piece. I'm an Alabasta in One Piece. That'll be on the channel. Give it a couple years. Don't worry, you'll be fine. One Piece is never going to end. But yeah, that's Academy Season 3. Hope you all enjoyed my video. If, for whatever reason, you enjoy my videos in general, I have plenty of content to tide you over, in case you don't want to wait till April to see my lovely face again. I have, manga reviews for everything from Boruto to the author of Soul Eater's new-ish 3-year-old series at this point, Fire Brigade of Flames, to Hiro Mashima's new series, Eden Zero, to the Fairy Tail sequel, 100 Years Quest. Got Black Butler, I have School Live, that super popular zombie anime back from 2015 that everyone stopped talking about, but I did not, because the manga is so good. What are the other 2 series I have? I don't remember, that's not the point. They're all here somewhere. I also have Attack on Titan anime reviews continuing. I have Boruto reviews going on until eternity. I have Angels of Death is wrapping up. It's 4 final episodes next month. And whatever shows fall gives us, which at the moment looks like is going to be Goblin Slayer and Radiant, along with Ghoul and Fairy Tail. Who knows? Who knows what it's going to be? Could be some big upsets in the next day. Who knows? So anyway, hope you all enjoyed this video and the episode itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like, subscribe, fill out that straw poll down below, let your voice be heard. Or you know what? Do whatever the fuck you want. I ain't the boss of you. So as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!